Okay, so hello and welcome to this M3 output management session. My name is Alistair Stone and I'm a product director working within the M3 product management team. Today's session is really about exploring Interform. It's how we can use that platform to enhance output management for M3 Industry CloudSuites. And today we've got a special guest, which is Peter Sorensen. He's the CEO for Interform. Hello, Peter, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much. And Alistair, thank you very much for allowing us to be here today and talk about how Interform can add value to the M3 and Industry Cloud Suite.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for coming along today. Before you start your part of this session, I just want to go over a number of things like the agenda and setting the right expectations and so on. So usual disclaimer, we're in the cloud, things do change and evolve over time, so do expect things in that way. So as far as the agenda, I want to give a quick introduction as to why we're doing this, and then kind of a high level understanding of what actually M3 output management is and how it relates to this topic. And then I really want to talk about why an open framework, what's so special about this? Why do I feel that we need to do this, and why is it important for our customers and ultimately our partners as well? And then I will hand over to Peter, who'll go through actually introducing the platform from Interform. I'll only spend a few minutes here. I'll try to get through my 3 points here as quickly as possible, so then I can hand over to the main part of this session. So what is today all about? Well, we're introducing Interform. Interform are a complementary output management partner for M3, and the reason we're doing this is we're doing this for kind of showcasing our open framework for output management. And what we're trying to do is enable integrations with third-party solutions, and this could be based on customer specific use cases perhaps. Worth noting that this is not about providing a replacement for info document management. What we see is customers either running with info document management or having specific use cases, or looking at things from more of a kind of corporate standpoint where you've got information needs from other places. So what we find is it's perfectly fine to be running info document management and also another third party alongside that, or you might even choose to just run the third party on its own. But this is really about giving customers the options that then fits their specific needs. We think that's really important. Okay. Another note on here as well is that we do actually work with other output management partners as well as part of this kind of broader ecosystem. So if we look at trying to understand M3 output management from a cloud-based standpoint, output management for our side is really about having the capabilities and options to help our customers manage and deliver things like business documents or internal operational reports, or having the ability to do label printing and so on. And what we've done as we've moved into the cloud, we've adopted a modern approach to handling this area. So it's really about working with configurable XML, and the knock-on effect of that is it kind of opens up what I would say kind of world of innovation. We're allowing our partners to kind of innovate with those capabilities, and this then ties into making sure that we can actually integrate with third party, giving customers the partners the ability to innovate, and ultimately what that does, it helps our customers with value. It kind of helps them attain value from the solutions that they're working with. We do evolve, as I said at the beginning. We are in the cloud. We are constantly evolving with new features and capabilities, and the way that I split this really is that we provide new capabilities in relation to core output within M3, so things that relate to the business engine, like changes to the reports or the configurable XML and so on. But we also include support for IDM, so we have a kind of a theme where we're kind of adopting new IDM capabilities, and IDM is our embed info document management capabilities. It's got the document management capabilities. We can work with archiving and so on, and all this is embedding within the cloud suite. But customers do have certain needs or use cases where they might require a third-party application, and that's why we feel it's really important to make sure we do have an open framework for partners to work and provide that value for our customers. And for example, some real world scenarios here might be that you could potentially have business documents or internal documents via IBM, or you might need country specific invoicing formatting, but you might potentially choose a third party to do something specific like label printing, for example. So it's really about choice and the capabilities and the use cases that the customer has here. Again, making sure things are open to support those. A very high level architecture picture here. So on the left, we've got M3 Industry CloudSuites. We know that we work with documents and reports. We know that we've got the financial report generator, and we can work with ad hoc reporting. We align the documents and reports around business processes, and then we have this thing called configurable XML, and then we have the output management systems that work with this XML. For example, we've got the embedded IBM document management system from Infor OS, but this can also coexist with third-party tools. And the reason for these, again, as I've said before, the reason for these third-party tools is it may be that you have the need for legacy support. You may have advanced capabilities above and beyond IBM. Or you may be looking at this from a kind of more of a corporate standpoint. You may have other applications outside of Infor M3 that you might need these third-party applications for. Why is the open framework important to us? I've kind of alluded on these points already, but we feel they are good at supporting those kind of nuanced or advanced capabilities. Again, it's for customers that may require certain flexibility. Perhaps it pertains to a certain market or industry, or again, at some sort of corporate level. We need to make sure that we allow that coexistence between the embedded application and those third-party solutions. It really enables organizations to select the output tools that match their needs. Again, kind of repeating what I've said there about supporting that nuanced or those advanced capabilities. And I've already mentioned legacy platforms. It might be that you're coming from an older output management application platform, or you might want to keep your existing investment there. And these final 2 points here, I think these are very, very important points here. We feel that it actually reduces the risk. In other words, you might want to work on a phased migration or even run certain output management applications in parallel. And when you tie all this together, I feel really strongly that it actually encourages innovation. So having that third-party capability allows innovation for our partners. And ultimately, what happens if our partners are innovating around the product, it means they're actually adding value for our customers. And I believe really strongly in that. And it's about keeping the ecosystem open and partner friendly. And again, as I've mentioned already, there are other partners as well that we do engage with. But today is all about Interform. And so with that, my kind of introduction is over, and I'd really like to hand over to Peter, please. Over to you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alistair. And going forward, the next 45 minutes, that's the amount of time I've handed out here. I will be talking about Interform, and I'll be talking about output management and how we add value, right, to all of you. But a short introduction to the company. Been around for 40 years and dedicated to output management. It's the only thing we do, handling billions of output for customers, thousands of customers globally, working with partners, working with channel partners. The expertise we have, what we do is really about making sure that you can create the right output in the right format at the right time. That is a key and essence to us. We also support the open framework, the philosophy of having one solution. And the approach we have is we are company focused. So we might be here for M3 today, but the approach we have is how we can help customers with all their output requirements. And that doesn't matter to us whether that's on-premise or in the cloud, or to most customers actually a hybrid. And it also means that we are here to be able to manage output from multiple applications at the same time, even, of course, managing different types of outputs, not just relying on perhaps printing that it all started with close to 40 years ago. We only have one product. So it means that everything we do goes back to that same product. So that also is 100% dedication. It means that when Alistair talks about advanced capabilities, then Interform is, of course, because we do this every day and only this, then it's, of course, our ambition, and it's also what we do is preparing customers for the future. And to many now, stepping from an on-premise into the cloud future is a change. And that change is what we're going to focus on today. Whether then you're coming from a legacy system, whether you have one ERP or multiple ERPs, then the approach we have to everything today is how we can help you as a company. Then some of you may think, can you actually run a business with just doing output management? And there is actually a lot to do. And for us, when we say we do this every day, then it's our job to go in and look on your behalf what goes on local to you. What is regulations out there? What type of industry-specific changes do you have? What perhaps your customers, your suppliers suddenly tell you that you have to accommodate to certain requirements they have. And then, of course, to take the leap in technology, because there is a huge difference from stepping away from on-premise to a cloud when it comes to output. That's a few of the things we're going to talk about today. So nevertheless, doing only this meant that last year we came close to 340 features in the product. So they are all based on inputs we get from our partners. Infor, we sit with Infor quite often. We sit with other partners. We even have a user group for M3 customers, right? We delivered 8 features last year purely based on those meetings, which we are kind of proud about, because it's all about making sure that you get what you need. And I guess the mentality and the belief now also from what Alistair said is that you might need advanced capabilities, and then you turn to someone like us. So not to confuse anyone, the relationship with Infor is in fact not at all new to Interform. We have actually been partnering with Infor for more than 25 years. And Infor is OEMing and bundling, connecting our software to many of their ERPs. You can see a list of them here to the right. So we are managing hundreds of customers, hundreds of customers with Infor. And that doesn't really mind whether it's on-premise or cloud. It's absolutely the same software that we deliver. So if you transition, it's a matter of an hour, and then you can go from on-prem to a cloud setup with Interform. So we work very closely with Infor. It means that on a daily basis, we are with Alistair, with Ole, with the team of M3, but the same goes for LN or all the other applications. We do share roadmap. So in fact, what we're going to talk about today is all aligned. It's not just a product that you get on the side that you then need to connect. We have thought of all of that, and we are aligning with the Infor OS platform, with IBM. All of that is very familiar to us. But we also know that it's important to work with the channel partners. And therefore, we have already a setup with a lot of channel partners. We have the community with a user group with in this case, M3 customers. So we all get the inputs that again reaches the features in the product, supporting the direction of Infor too. So I'm actually quite proud about the community we have, because if some of you attended MUGA here in the spring in the US, you would have seen that Interform, vPro, also Infor and a customer, Waterworks, at stage presenting a case we have done together. So that is not that often that we see that working with other partners different to Infor, that actually we can come together in that. But we all share the same vision, the same goal here, which is of course making it very attractive for us as partners, but also beneficial for customers. But that was kind of the introduction, Harley. Let's try to go in and look at what output management is, because there are changes coming when you're going from an on-prem to a cloud. We are going away from spool files, stream files into XML with the configurable XML and so on. But still, there's some fundamental things within output management that we briefly should touch. And it kind of is a very business critical process these days. And to some of you, you may not think about it, because when it works, it's something that we don't pay attention to. On the same time, we also seen that output has changed a lot through the years. Alistair mentioned e-invoicing or other areas that suddenly are new, and we have to look into label printing and all of that. It is also very often an underestimated element in an ERP project. And if we just do the standard route that have been going on for many years, then it's most likely what we start with at the end of a project. And knowing the fact that most projects, obviously not these projects we know of here, right, but in general speaking terms, then most ERP projects are delayed. And therefore we need to work on something very critical. We have to run fast. That's normally not a good combination. And that's why we want to try to separate some of these things and do those things in a tool that's really designed to do that. So it's very common that when you get into a discussion about an upgrade ERP, that when you talk to the sales, the partners, that the output part is not something that you discuss that in detail. It's something that we take as part of the project later, because everyone knows it's complex. It can be complex. It also has the nature of when consultants sit and work with setting up templates, labels, and so on. It's kind of a boring job, even though we do that every day. I have to be honest to say that repeating yourself by doing 10 labels, 20 labels, 100 labels, and documents and so on, it's end of the day becomes lines and boxes and barcodes, which is of course not that exciting. Problem with that is it's extremely important for us. Many have had the thought about, hey, when it ain't broken, right, then don't fix it. The problem that is, if we are going to invent the wheel again, and we are, because you have to change when you go into the cloud, then we would not give you a wooden version of that wheel again, would we? So we need to give you that one that fits you. If we build a basket and we put our eggs in it, we need to have that strong basket that can support us going forward. But I do recognize, and that's the paradox of everything, that when it works, no one really cares, right? Because it flows. Of course, it's focused and it's important. But when it works, it's not like when we print, hit print in the system, goes to the printer, and there's a piece of paper that we're overly excited. Not at all. But we definitely can imagine that picture here to the right. If it doesn't, you get your calls. You are definitely aware. So it's not a problem to Interform, because that's what we do every day. So it's not a concern at all. We also have a good tool for it. But let's try to go in and look a little bit about how it changed, so we can understand why that we are not delivering a wooden wheel again, because it's extremely important. And Infor have definitely seen that customers need more, because how it was back in the days that we had just one application. It all they started with printing. Today it's a bit more, of course. We had a few applications, so all data was kind of in one place. We're running on premise. Our requirements to output were not significantly high. And if we were successful when it looked nice and looked as we wanted. That's kind of short term how it was. We didn't have too much more. Nowadays, none of you would be happy with just being able to print. And we're also not happy only having a PDF, as we get from standard setup today. So we need to connect data from multiple sources. We have also different types of data. If we are on spool files, XML, or stream files, we kind of know we have different types that we need to manage. Also, it's not just cloud or on-prem, it's in between. But when it was on-premise, it was much simpler, because we could just have our data along with where our devices were. Now we have our data up in the cloud and our devices remain on-premise. That is different, a completely different approach, and also performance-wise, which is something we will touch a bit later. Also, something that we need to pay attention to. So it all gone from having all the data at once now to having different types of data, merging data from different sources together, it means that we cannot just accept that it looks okay. It also needs to be correct. So we need to have some validation that prove that, yeah, this is compliant with our e-invoicing regulation, or yes, this is when we scan the barcode data that actually is making sense to the one that in fact is creating the barcode or scanning the barcode. So what I'm trying to get at here, we have an increased complexity. And that is exactly why we need to go away from the idea, at least that's the Interform mindset, of having built-in output capabilities. So it's fine to have built-in capabilities if you are just standard. But we are now talking about Interform is introduced when you are not standard. So the whole mindset here of creating a built-in output functionality is that, of course, you are concerned about your own part of the world. But when we bring Interform into the table, then we have you as a company in focus. So whether you on one version have one application or 10 applications, then Interform is the right choice for you. You don't need to learn how to do output in many different applications. It means that, as Alistair also said earlier, if you're doing label printing, you don't need a label printing tool because there's none of you only printing labels. So you want to have that in one output tool that can consolidate everything, that can guide you, that is designed to work for you as a company. And of course, a partner behind that's dedicated to do this. So that is the company focus, where we talk about separating output. Output has also grown, as I mentioned on previous slides, from being a little thing to being now a central part to most of your processes. So even though that you're going into a standard ERP system, then you want to have the ability to make you who you are, because a lot of the things you have are tied to how you work that may not fit into a standard approach in an ERP, but you still need to be flexible when you are at the floor. Or output in general, it's most likely how you've seen it. So I won't spend too much time here, but it's all about we want to create something, we want to distribute it, and then there are different types of output that we want to work with. I don't think that's different to what most of you have envisioned, have you seen. Many of you have using an output tool already, but it all starts that we have to create something. And with Interform, you get a drag and drop designer. What you see is what you get. So all of the convenient stuff that you get from a proper designer. In the old days, our designer was a unique selling point. It's not today. But still, we have all the advanced capabilities. So if you want to go in and reformat your text, if you want to add a different type of images, if you want to have your 3D drawings added, if you want to go in and have the same header footer on your document, so you have a consistency across your documents, you can easily do that. We are versioning, so if you want to make sure that someone makes work, others approve, all of these things is standard. It's browser-based, it looks the same whether you're on-premise cloud, all of that is taken care of. So it's not a word editor, that is a text editor that also can be used, but it will never be as you want it. So that's the advanced that you get for those who do it every day. It's also significant more work to come to this stage here, put into it. But that is what Interform is all about. We then come for M3, I want to show it later, with hundreds of templates that are pre-made, so you don't have to start from scratch. We also have some automation AI that creates templates for you, so you don't have to start from scratch, but you can do that. You can start from scratch, right? You get access to 80 videos that will instantly guide you on how to do and so on. So you're well prepared, because we are a software company. We are not in it for selling services, that we have partners, but best would be that you have that hands-on ability yourself, because if it's critical to you, it's nice that you're able to go in and do whatever you need to do on your own. We still have a lot of consultants that are more than happy to help, but it is kind of a little bit of a bias if we have both and we promote both. We want to be the software company, right, that helps you. So the other part of Interform is then our workflow, and that's actually the heart of the solution. It's where we go in and connect applications, connect different types of data to Interform that allows you to run your standard ERP setup, no customization, send it over and let Interform then do the magic, especially fitted to your business. Again, there's no programming involved here. It's graphical. It allows you to go in and set up workflows. They are pre-made when you get our M3 package. That we can do a lot of advanced stuff is of course additional. You can just bring that up and start to create new or add to existing. Examples to how advanced capabilities again comes in here is related to imagine we're getting data from multiple sources. Instead of you having to write scripts and perhaps even try to get it into M3, then instead you send it to Interform. Let Interform connect data from the VMS and from IBM. We bring in, we create, we get a value above a certain value point that requires someone's approval. That's what Interform manages. When it's approved, it will goes to a queue, and on Friday we will send it out, for instance. That is advanced. It's also advanced when we combine Interform, for instance, creating a pick list, and then we want labels printed accordingly. So it's combining laser print with label printing. With Interform, you set it up and you print the pick list, and only in the event that we could print the pick list, we will print matching labels. Because if we couldn't print pick list, we wouldn't even print the labels. It wouldn't make sense. There's no integration work for you to do. It's Interform that takes care of it. And of course, it's always on a Sunday that printer doesn't really react right, and someone calls you up and say, hey, we are not in a position to print. You would know that you have 2 printers in the warehouse, and in Interform, you have the ability to say when printer A is not available and automatically redirect to B. So you don't have to go in on that Sunday and do all of that. There's endless of options here that is all about making sure the data is right. Because it's not about looking great. We have to be successful. If we're not successful, we didn't succeed in what we needed to do. And you can have hundreds of workflows. You can create anything you like. You can have workflows talking to other workflows, etc. It's also when, for instance, you're creating an invoice and you need to have a PO number on, and there's no PO number. Interform will be able to stop the process, inform someone that it's not right, proactively. You or a partner on your behalf, or even Interform directly say, hey, we need to fix something. Of course, at any given point, we would expect that already to be taken care of in the ERP. But it's just so often that we don't have that luxury, or that everything is managed already when it comes to Interform. And therefore, we could be the choice in order to resolve that in a good way. So on the other hand, we work very closely with the partners to have the best practice approach, that the logic should remain in the main application. But in some cases, there is no main application because it consists of data from multiple sources. So you can hear it's kind of where the heart beats of the platform. At the end, there is, again, the ability to connect all sorts of outputs here. Printing, PDF, emailing, labels, web services, APIs, messages, all of the things that we do more than on screen. But it's basically what makes an output management. And all of that we take care of in one solution. There's no need to have a separate label, a separate printing, a separate for one ERP and so on, when you can get that as a company. Because no matter where you go in the future, you will remain who you are. So if we look at this is the most technical slide of the day. I don't want to go much more into detail. We have another session here in a few weeks that we will deep dive, that you're more than welcome to attend. But if we know how M3 works today, right, that we have a REST call into IBM, Enterprise Connector connects to a Windows driver when we print, then Interform is very much more swift and agile. So I kind of want to just talk you through here, depending on the version we have, we tell it and ask Interform to how can we communicate. Most likely it's a web service here. If we go with the Industry CloudSuite, we get an XML in, we consider, do we have all the data we need, or do we have like additional data from IBM, from our CAD drawing system, from another in-house old premise legacy system, even doesn't matter. If we need more data, we can enrich. When we have everything, we can just put it into a design, send it out, no matter what design it is. We can go and print PDF, email, send messages back to the ERP, to other applications, what we did, have some information sent back to Workspace. Kind of want to coexist, make sure everything goes into IDM. Invoices are archived in IDM with all the right index values and so on. That's technically what we do every single time. You can then with 1 second have a spool file, another second an XML from one application to another. All varies, it doesn't matter. That is fundamentally Interform, but we're also kind of stupid in the sense that we don't get data, we do nothing, right? And you from IDM can in M3 decide which of my documents, reports, etc. do I want to pass through Interform. So as Alistair said, it can easily coexist. There's no exception. There is an advantage of running most of it through Interform, that you have one common log for all your output, that you can see whatever happened at a given time. That is a huge advantage, and what a lot of customers, they really like to do. So that was again a step deeper. Now let's see what are the typical challenges that we see with M3 customers, right? So of course we have talked about already when the ERP functionality is not enough, that we need to look for advanced capabilities. We also talked about when we have data that's not in the ERP, that is the company approach, right? That we look at how can we help you? Because if you are stepping into M3 Industry Cloud Suite, then we would recognize that you still have a past, and we need to understand how to work with that past. And from an output standpoint, that's actually not that simple, because we may be on-prem and we are now stepping into something else, and we need to understand that. The same goes for performance reasons. So a lot of customers who don't recognize the impact it has when we step from an on-prem to a cloud. Even across locations and your own network, there will be impacts. And it's something we want to address today also. And then the final thing is we see many customers today that actually have been surviving with their current setup, but they also kind of don't want to be dependent on external consultants in order to achieve what they need to achieve, because it is a really critical process, and therefore they want to get back in control. They want to have hands-on, which really emphasizes how your UI is, how your user experience is, and so on. All of that, it's kind of what I will try to cover in the next few slides, because advanced may sound to many then difficult. Well, if you don't do it every day, of course, I guess most things will be difficult. But at Interform, when we look at things, then what could be advanced from a standard approach with IDM or Infor would be working with the data. How can we work with the data? How can we present the data the way we like? How if we want to reformat it and so on? How if we want to have a same header footer on our documents so we save time, we are consistent? All of these things, that's as soon very shortly we'll say, then you are advanced. If you want to live up to regulations in certain areas, there are advanced capabilities as well. If you want to embed stuff and so on, there are just things that suddenly will of course impact, and there you need some additional assistance. Same goes label printing, RFID, all the advanced output options as well, is again where we say, okay, all of that comes in one solution. That's called Interform. That's what we take care of, what we make sure is actually the future, and maybe not where you are today, but shortly will be. So that's also where we strategically sit with Infor and look into the future. We hear from partners and customers, we get the inputs, and of course, back to the localization part I mentioned, we get all the local inputs. For instance, right now in Europe, there is an Accessibility Act that is very important to understand, that impacts how you do your PDFs. So all these things is what we make sure we take care of on your behalf. But let's just go into an example, right? So to the left is a standard, one of our customers, the slaughterhouse. part of the user group, by the way. They presented this case here earlier as well. They are kind of different to most of you, where you normally have a lot of small items you put into one item, right? You assemble and have one new item. In this case here, what they have is one piece that they cut into several smaller pieces. So what these guys they would want in their document was, in this case here, for this specification, that all the sub lot numbers was grouped with weighing, had a subtotal. So it had this instant overview, which unfortunately over here meant that it was not possible with the standard. And right, they spent more than a week, and when they came over, we were luckily able, and it's always the best cases, you know, you present, that's the fact, but in a few hours actually we came to this result instead, and they are overly happy. The waterworks case I mentioned from the Muga spring event, they are into in fact interior design, luxury interior designs products, and you can go into their showrooms, their web shops, and so on, where they have all sorts of options. So, but what they want to display to their customers is when you buy products, that they are grouped according to the room, the type of room. So if you go for bathroom, you pick your products, you don't just get a long list of items. Now they group them according to the rooms, which is really smart, right? It's also kind of give that document a different value at the end. But that's in fact advanced, but to Interform is not advanced. I could also tell you here, we could recalculate the total of the document, right? But we wouldn't do that, because then it most likely wouldn't match with what you have in M3. So there's a lot of things we can do beyond, and that's where the best practice, the guidance, working with partners and Infor comes all together, that we are able to give you a tool that does a lot of things, but also make sure you get the right best practice advice. So another element very, very often seen is performance. So performance can be measured in many ways. It can be volume. If you have a high spike in 2 hours in the morning, you get thousands of jobs through, and then it's slow the rest of the day. If you have big jobs and small jobs, but you have point of sale, and therefore you need to prioritize your jobs, that's very often seen. Performance. Stepping into the cloud is a huge performance influencer. The way that M3 works, where you have your IDM in the cloud, you create a PDF, you send the PDF, basically you wrap that into the container PDF, send it over a network to a printer, unwrap that and print. That is killing performance. The problem is with standard approaches, you cannot exclude the output and put it on-prem if you want to achieve a better performance. All of that is what you do with Interform, right? So another performance argument when customers they come in is, hey, we need to have that usability ability. We need to have hands-on. And all again is that it's agility, it's performance, it is understanding how critical output can be, and therefore there are a lot of things that you want to have hands-on to yourself. And we also acknowledge, even in our older version, we have rewritten our software sometimes, that when you start years ago, and it's of course you set it up in one way, and now knowing we have learned stuff and improved, then of course you would set it up different. And that's again going back to not inventing the wooden wheel again, right? That we want to bring you that round wheel still, and with all that advantages that you would have today, so we make sure you progress. It's of course all within what we do. And then the last one, and that is not everyone have rethought their output strategy. So that's where we go in and support customers. Our partners go in and support you to say, okay, we might don't want to do that application approach when we do output. We kind of want to separate that. So the open framework Alistair spoke about is also a really big part of this, working with APIs, working with integrations, connections, understanding you have a past where you may have some legacy, some in-house applications you also need to manage. And at the same time, you have a strategy pointing forward where you need to look into. And that's where we want to go in and talk to you, because I can tell you, if we take 30 minutes of your time, we would be able to 9 out of 10 of all the projects we see where we are brought in afterwards, where you started with standard, had not defined your requirements, then you run into the woods 5 miles, have to turn around, you're exhausted, you're late, you spend money, and you didn't achieve what you need to achieve. So if you upfront take that discussion, spend with us, with the partners, then what we would do is sit down with you and then say, hey, what are you doing today? What are your objectives? What are you trying to get towards? But also what makes you you? But very often to documents, we might think we can put a standard ERP in, but as soon as you then start to roll features in on the floor in the process for those actually use it, you start to get pushbacks very often, and then they will tell you it doesn't work. If it's too slow, not going to happen. All of these things, let's try to look at it, because 100%, most of that, 9 out of 10 times, we would have been able to foresee that you would end up in the position that you are. A lot of the projects also I'm going into, the Waterworks case was the same, had to stop at a certain point, change direction in order to achieve what they wanted to achieve. But that is basically what we are all about, making sure that we know what you need, talk to you about it, and also, of course, talking about all the things you don't know. Because if we are looking at the old wheel and when we don't know what options are for a new wheel, it will just be kind of a copy of the same, and that doesn't bring us anything, especially when we change from cloud. So let's take one step deeper. What is it then specifically we have done for M3? Beyond the next 3 slides, there are more than 500 man days invested. Us, with our partners, we have done a lot of this work with our partner Columbus, M3 channel partner for years. We have designed a solution that has a holistic approach to output. It means that we are not providing you a product. We have not talked about a product today. We've talked about a platform. We've talked about a solution. That all is aligned with Infor strategy. That's aligned with not just creating the output based on ERP data, but it's also archiving it, is sending it back to IBM. So you get all of that aligned. We have pre-made workflows, 147 templates. We reducing the standard implementation from 3 to 4 weeks down to a week. Within that week, we leave you with header, footer, a logo, and so on, bank information in your footer, all of that updated. And then you can, including training, by the way, in that week, so you have hands-on capabilities. A lot of the partners will more than be happy to, we as well as company, be happy to guide you and assist you going forward, but you are in a position where you are able to operate everything yourself. And that is going back to mentioning we are a software company. That is the main focus for us, to make sure that we leave you in a position that you can do as much as you want yourself. If you then don't have the time, there are features in the product that will inform us when you are not able to resolve something that you have asked us to look into. So we get notifications, your partners can get notifications. A lot of work put into understanding how important it is, but also that you most likely don't have your eyes on everything every time, every minute. So the package we have done can be implemented in parallel, like also Alistair said initially, that is not either or. It can easily coexist. It doesn't matter. It's totally fine to do so. But we have for M3 and also Industry CloudSuite, there are 4 different ways you can integrate depending on the version you're running. We have IDM integration, so everything from IDM for creating output, but also archiving output is set up. With those 140 XML ready templates out of the box, there are even some reports are added now. If you started going down the road and you're now turning around and say, hey, I might need something else, then we are able to take your Word template from IDM. So there's a conversion option that allows us to take what you have done, convert it in. I also have to have a little bit of a disclaimer. I didn't have that nice of a disclaimer like Alistair up front, right? But then we have to say, if you have done a very specific programming, hard coding stuff in that conversion process, then it may be only 70% we can convert, but it's still much more than starting from scratch. On top of that, proving the fact again that we are not a service company as default, is that we have another option. We have an automation and AI that can convert whatever you have in PDF into a template that you again can drag and drop, edit and change, so you don't have to start from scratch. All of this in the packaging we have set up for you, so you don't have to do anything. It's already will from M3 reach a printer if you have selected printer in M3 for the output destination, and it will also end up in IBM with the right index values and so on. We have taken all of that into account, because this is not just here's a product, you're on your own. It's not. This is the solution that's aligned with Infor, aligned with the partners. You get access, so a part of that week there will be a consultant assisting you. You will get access to the training, you will get all of that, and you will be able to be part of the user group. That is where I mentioned 8 features was added just basically from the user group, and and it's every second month, right? You can sign up to it, and you get the information when something is coming up. You get an invite and you get a recording once. So if you cannot make it, you just get a recording. So commercially, I know that's important to talk about the implementation. The 1 week thing, it comes with a fee where we deliver everything that's pre-made, pre-packaged, that basically has the value of the 4 weeks or more. But to get that head start to start in a good way, you can of course at any time go in and modify and change if you want to. There is a fee for that. Otherwise, it's a subscription that includes a production and a test environment. And very importantly, you can use the software connecting to any other ERP, competitive, old in-house application, whatever it is. There's no limits to that. Again, different to what you are used to. And then the M3 package with all the content, the easy onboarding, the training and so on is all there. You can find all of this information also on Infor Marketplace, but otherwise encourage you to reach out, right, to us and our partners to learn more. Didn't talk too much about customers and references. So here at the end, I want to say that everything I've just showed you from M3, that's M3 related, is something we put on top of the standard product that these customers they have, because they are not specifically M3 customers, these here. However, we also have a lot of references that are specifically M3 related. So can encourage you to go in and watch a few of our customer video cases we have. Otherwise, again, reach out to us to learn more. There are many different stories that we can tell. But I also brought one today because it's, I guess, important to also see. I, of course, brought a case that is a little bit different, but it proves the case of the flexibility. So these guys here we've been working with even before they became an Infor customer. So they have a legacy ERP system, and they wanted to transition into a cloud setup. And located in Sweden, European, they have kind of a big setup, right? They have more than 30 companies in the group, more than 44 brands to manage. So you can imagine from an output point of view, where you have everyone have the different document layouts and even different processes. They are in different industry segments, so they are not even 100% the same, right? So they need to have certain differences. They have hundreds and hundreds of printers. So for these guys, luckily they knew about output management upfront, and they wanted to do a lot of that already deliberately separated from ERPs. So that's where we started. They also had advanced capabilities for sure, and they wanted to go away from their previous setup before Interform. They had a setup where they were really dependent on others, and with all these companies changing logos for brands and new requirements from customers and suppliers, they wanted to get back in the driver's seat. They wanted to get back to have that ability to manage. So in this case, they went live some months ago and have now also increased to add US to it. They also have added Infor WMS. So now no cost extra to the customer. They decide that we want to increase more of our capabilities to Interform and utilizing the power of Interform. And that is a very good case of exactly how output is. They then upfront knew that they wanted to go this direction, and they didn't go in the direction of trying to start with standard because they knew upfront. They did that evaluation, and this is a really good strong case, I have to say. So summing up, because we come to the end of the hour, and there's been a lot of information, so I kind of want to just repeat that Interform is an extension to the capabilities, and we enrich the value of M3 and M3 Industry CloudSuite. So you decide when you think that you are not standard. If you go with us, we can tell you, we can advise you upfront whether you're standard. I can guarantee you, as the CEO of Interform, that we are not going to try to push Interform your way if you don't need it, because we cannot hide behind this. We tend to say in output management, you cannot be half pregnant. It will be quite clear if we are not good at what we do. It will also be very clear if you don't need the things that we have to offer. And we don't really want to do that. So with our partners, we would definitely go into the discussion with you, go through the 30 minutes to check up. So we are designed for you as a customer. Your company, not the application, is what we think first. We then do have a really good, strong setup that will complement the ERP in this case strongly. But that is not thought number one from our point of view. You then get a partner that only do output management, strongly committed to that, as we only have one product. I think it speaks for itself. The relationship we have with Infor since 25 years, now working, packaging everything up, making sure you get a solution that fits and is aligned with strategy, is a huge impact, is a huge focal point to us, but it should also be for you, because output, if you're not aware, you will have many more applications in your infrastructure going forward. You most likely will not be pure cloud unless you are cloud first. And therefore you need a strong tool that understands how critical this is for you, and also understand the capabilities, the requirements you have. That is what we have to offer. That's what we want to go in and discuss with you guys. So again, I cannot really say that enough. Reach out, have that conversation. Even partners, we work with partners and are working and getting new partners in, and so I'm happy to take that discussion. How can we give you the best tools to provide for your customers going forward? So if you have interest, reach out to us. There is a standard approach to us through an email. You can sign up to our user group also. There is, of course, a link, but as you cannot click a link today, then, of course, just use the email if you like to. That's the case. Short term, of course, you are able to reach out to me personally as well. 3rd of July, we will host a session that is targeting partners, customers, again, the same audience today. So if you're here today, feel free to register. That here will be shared with you as well. I will put that into the chat note here in a minute. So we will go through more detail, the solution, step deeper, right? What does it do? How have we done with 3 other customer cases? We'll talk a little bit about the regulations I mentioned, where you have to here by end of June to comply with some regulations. Do you know about that? If not, then we really need you to understand what it is. But then also what we want to do is make sure how, if you want to do this, how does the project look like? How much time should you invest? What does it require in time? Who can help you? Have that discussion. It's something that we would do. And then we also want to go a little bit more into Q&A session. But there is an event coming up. Make sure to share that link with you. But you can also just, hey, Interform / M3 webinar, and you're able to sign up. So, Alistair, that kind of is my minutes of fame here. I do thank you very much for providing the time here. And if we have any questions, I'm more than happy to go in and answer. Otherwise, feel free to reach out here. Alistair, did we cover everything we wanted?
I've got a quick question for you. You kind of alluded to building out a kind of partner ecosystem. Could you give more background to that as to what you're thinking and what value that could bring?
Yeah, so we have a very strong relationship with Columbus and other partners, right? We have built a concept here, and basically what we want to do is have a community So we wanted to make sure that we get all the inputs. It's the same software everyone gets. So that's why that Infor is here today, right? Make sure we can support the channel partners. And the model for Interform has always been to work with channel partners at Infor, right? To make sure that we instruct the partners, secure when partners are with customers, support them in the discussions with customers. Because we also understand this is a topic that is really, we can be really nerdy about. And you hear about how hopefully passionate you hear I am about this, but others they might just want to hear the small parts, and others they want to go into the detail, and that's kind of what we want to do. So an ecosystem for us is helping Info channel partners, Info sales team as well, very often jointly on sessions talking to customers, and that's kind of what we want to do here as well.
Yeah, got a couple of questions here. So we've got a question, Peter. The presentation mentioned Denmark XML invoicing. Similar in Poland, we have soon to send the invoices XML to government. Only when approved can we send the real invoice to the customers. Is that something that can be handled within Interform, within the flows perhaps?
Yeah, exactly. E-invoicing is a module you can extend the Interform package with, right? And Poland is different because exactly you need to approve. So and there's also different rules whether you are trading inside of Poland or you get cross-border. There are different ways you need to do so. So e-invoicing generally, not just in Poland, here from next year, it will kick in. It's been delayed a few years, but it will kick in here from next year. There are regulations all Europe. So it's something we do a lot. Most likely we are doing 30 projects right now, just around e-invoicing. Whether it's the Danish, the German, Zugfahrt, X-Rechnung, or the French, or what it is, then it's really something that is popping up all over. And it's not like replacing the documents, it's just another type of communication we need to adhere to. So yes, the Polish one is something like many other formats as well.
Peter, thank you very much for your time. I think that's been a really good call, very informative as well. Really good. Thank you.